a black boy was he. The boy went to school and he come out unseen. Never learned how to read, he never learned about math. Never learned how to write, he never studied about that. All he studied was his speakers, his sneakers and clothes. He learned how to dress and he learned how to pose. He can't get no work, he can't get no job. He decide to steal and he decide to rob. But little black boy couldn't last long at all. The police put a bullet through it, don't see it skull. Little black boy, go to school and learn. Little black boy, show some concern. Little black boy, education is the key to get you off the street and off poverty. Little black boy, go to school and learn.
Yes, indeed. Of course, a pleasant good night to all and sundry, East, West, North, Central. We had a little technical issue just before the start of the program, so we may be running a bit later tonight. But that being as it may, the fact is that when the going gets tough, the tough gets going. And there is another saying as well to, of course, attach to this, is that Murphy's Law is when something has to go wrong, it will at the worst possible time. Well, of course, both are applicable. But that being as it may, we are here, yes, young Joshua and myself. And of course, what's her name? She will not be with us tonight. She promised to be with us, of course, every Saturday night. But due to circumstances beyond their control, she's not here with us. Nia? Yes, Nia. Nia is... Maya? All right. Maya, sorry. I start with an N, but the name is really with an M. So Maya. Right? Okay. But that means good night to you, Maya. Good night, good night. Send a good night to Gina. Right? I know that only had it out last week, and there may be a sensitivity to say, well, listen, maybe I might perform better without. No. Competition is good. That being as it may, people, of course, we have a bumper program for you tonight. We are going to look at, of course, at the whole question of learn all. And of course, we are going to look at the African community in particular. And we are going to look at the historical, let's say, contributions to, of course, the area of education where the African community would have contributed, particularly along the East-West Corridor, because this is an East-West Corridor program. And of course, when we're looking at colleges, well, of course, we have to look at CIC, we have to look at Fatima, we have to look at, of course, QRC, Tranquility, and all the other secondary schools. Of course, in terms of primary schools, well, wherever they are, whether it be Nelson Street, whether it be the one that is next to us here, I'm talking about Eastern boys or Eastern girls, as the case may be. So that is the direction. Of course, and later down the road, when Joshua would have left us, we will be looking at, of course, the madness that is the present opposition. I'm going to, finally prove to you that, yes, Ken-Lou Beckles, the leader of the PNM and leader of the opposition, did say that she's sorry. A very rare occasion, of course, on the other times when she said that, we did badly, we lost 100,000 supporters and so on and so forth. But I think increasingly they are recognizing that kind of lyrics, that kind of rhetoric is gathering no more, so to speak. It ain't sticking, so they had to go get more and more desperate. So you will hear her say, of course, that she wants to bring back Amesbury as a minister. Just imagine that. And clearly in the Ministry of Finance, because she believed that he performed well. A man who told us that he wasn't going to, of course, in the first place, take away subsidies. But then when he got into office, he then tells us that not only he's going to increase subsidy, which means increase in gasoline and fuel, and then tell us he did it once, he did it twice, and because we in riot, he go do it again. That's the kind of madman that she is touting to be some kind of what I consider to be a significant player in the finances of Trinidad and Tobago. And of course, he was the man who told us what? He can see clearly now the rain is gone, and that the economy has turned around. The economy has turned around, and it turned out to be a blatant and unadulterated lie. Yes, indeed. But of course, we will not lose sight of the fact that Joshua is here, and of course, I'm going to ask him some questions as well. And of course, he had supposed to have had a test yesterday, but he was still under the weather, and you see that he shifts a little bit in order to, of course, execute a cough. So he still has some remnants of it, but we got some antibiotics and we got some other remedies, and I think he's well on his way to recovery. But that being as it may, let's get to Joshua one time. How are you feeling today, son, first and foremost? Let me make sure the mic is on. Right, go ahead. Not 100%, but you can deal with it a little bit. That big talk, not very my best, and I can deal with it, and we will see, etc. All right. How was school, the little school that you went to for the week ending tomorrow? Well, ending today, because the week starts on a Sunday. So check my what? Oh, Maya is here. All right, okay. I understand Maya is on the line, so let's hear what she has to say. Let's hear what she has to say. Hi, Maya. How are you? What caused you not to be here tonight? Oh, I see. And that created a little issue for you. Oh, right. Oh, no, we get a little more. So, repeat why you weren't here why you are not here tonight. Speak a little louder.
What you said? What did you say? I didn't hear you properly.
Oh, I see. All right. All right, well, we miss you. We miss you already, even though, of course, it would have been the second night. But we expect that we'll see you next week. All right?
Yeah.
Okay. Say hello to Granny and Grandpa.
Okay, I will.
Okay, and I'm sure that you're viewing us. That is why you called. All right. Thanks for giving us a heads up that you wouldn't be here tonight, but not that we didn't know before, because I'm sure that my assistant here would have communicated with you. All right, thanks very much, and we will do our best whilst you are not here. All right?
Okay.
Okay then. Bye bye.
So
Right. Go ahead, Joshua.
basically, I missed.
Speak a little louder now. Speak a little louder.
Basically, I missed my test on Friday because these little like cuts, like cuts. I don't know where it come from. But every time I was like walking. Well, I felt him walking, and I was walking really slow.
All right. So as a result of that, you weren't able to go to school on Friday, so as to take the test.
And I missed my test.
Go ahead. Mm-hmm. And what?
I missed my test, and
yeah. Well, I did as a responsible parent. I did go to the school, had a chat with the teacher, told her before school start. Well, my school was about to start, and I told her what the predicament was, and I thought, well, she might have given him the test on Monday, and then I realized that would not have been. Why? Because she says that it is written on the board in chalk. So I realized that maybe I have to make some kind of intervention. Maybe we may have to start to, of course, assist with paper, so that the test could be on paper rather than on the board, because the board means that when you rub off, that's it. So the entire thing is gone. I suspect that is why she told me that it would be impossible to for her to just put back the test on the board for only him. And I agree with that. But of course, if you had paper, if it was on paper, it means therefore it would have been easy to just pull one of the test papers and give it to him and put him in a little corner and let him, of course, do the test by himself. So that is what I picked up. And I'm sure that other schools are faced with that predicament as well. But I didn't expect, of course, a school in Port of Spain to have that kind of situation, because when he would have missed tests, let's say where he was before in Belmont, he would normally get the test because it's written on paper or prepared on paper, so he would just get it in the next day, as the case may be, based on the nature of the reason for the absence. Right? All right. So that being as it may.
Well, not really next day.
When you went Belmont? Oh,
No,
okay.
no, no,
But
no,
maybe
no.
on the next occasion, right? Okay, right. No problem. All right, but I want to test him tonight. Before he goes to read, you read anything tonight? All right, okay, right. So before he leaves us, and I want to test, because he had 20 words to spell, I'm going to randomly, of course, choose 5 for him to spell to see whether or not, if he had gone to the test, if he had taken the test, whether or not he would have done well. I just will do 5. I can't do the whole 20. It will consume too much time. So the first one, of course, is 40. 40, the number 40.
F-O-R-T-Y.
What? All right, okay. Well, let me give him a harder one. Spell 1,000. That's another word that he had to spell for the test yesterday. 1,000.
T-H-O-U-S-A-N-D.
What? T-H-O-U-S. Yes, that's correct, right. All right, spell cycle.
C-Y-C-L-E.
All right, spell value.
C-A-L-U-E.
All right, spell solar.
I already know this one because when I was playing my game, how this mark was solar.
And you took note of the spelling of solar?
No, I just know it was before my scheme of the solar
Oh, I see. All right, okay.
thing. S-O-L-A-R.
Right, solar, right. So I am going to give you one that is not on the list at all. So you had cycle. I want circle.
C. Wait.
Circle. That is not on the list, but I want to hear that. But of course, is easy. CLE, right? You know that will come at the end of it, but at the beginning, what is
C-L.
circle? Circle.
C-E-C-E-C-I. C-I-R-C-L-E.
Right. You made it again? Circle.
C-I-R-C-L-E.
Yes, circle, right. Okay. You asking me or you telling me?
Tell him.
Okay, because I like that students when they tell me rather than say that C-I-R-C-L-E, as if you're asking a question. No, there's no need for that. All right, I think he would have done well. You would make your own judgment as well. I don't have a copy of the other. I just took out those words at random. I don't have a copy of the entire 20 list. So I expect that he should be getting 100% at least in that. If he had done the test. Any issue that you want to raise? I talked about the whole question of based on the tune Little Black Boy. When they say Little Black Boy, what do you think they're referring to in the song? Little black boy go to school and learn. Little black boy don't.
A little boy needed
time.
a little boy needed to go to school,
Right.
and like somebody tell him go to school, but he didn't go to school.
All right. So and you were saying that the lessons should be what? That he should go to school or not go to school?
Should go to school.
He should go to school, right? And then do what?
And learn.
His work well. His or her work. Right, okay, right. Right. Black hair, don't feel no harm, but black means not necessarily people with that have this texture of hair, because you have other races that are black as well, like the Indians, they are black as well, right? But I think that the particular tune was designed really for Africans who are generally considered to be black, and the texture of hair are like mine. Right. I just got a note to people that the phone is not charged, and I did not take it out of the car after. And I want to say, of course, a pleasant good night to a special gentleman who came from the United States yesterday, and we had lunch today. Good to see him, and he was very, very. To me, he didn't look as the person I expected when we constantly spoke on the phone, and we had a very healthy discussion. And he came to the office here and looked at the facility. He was impressed that we were able, of course, to purchase it, and it's our own. But we are waiting on the Army and others to, of course, do the upgrading. But in the meantime, we are using it for the purpose, which, of course, this broadcast is part of. Right? So, Mr. Gobin, a pleasant good night to you, sir. I trust that you have a wonderful stay in Trinidad. I know you are here both on business and probably to see family. I know that you are leaving on Friday as well. I did try to get to Andy, because Andy is well known to him and vice versa, and to let Andy eat his heart out, because I got an opportunity to have lunch with him. Andy did not, and I'm sure that he would have loved both of us to be in his presence, so to speak, in order to have lunch with him. So, so that being as it may, that's an opportunity lost, but I thought it was important to make that introduction. Anything that you want to part us with, Joshua?
But wait.
Yeah?
But wait. Daddy forgot to plug the camera in, so we have to use the backup camera.
Yes.
Which is a little bit smaller, but still.
Yes. So you're giving us part of the reason why we were a bit tardy tonight, because when we looked at the main camera, we weren't able to, of course, use it for whatever reason. Afterwards, we will look at that, but we have a backup camera. You know, at one time we didn't have one. Those of you who are very, very familiar with the program will know that. And we used to get all kind of colors, and sometimes they had to stay in the background. Miss Arima, when she used to call, she would say, well, look, you know, let's have a program in spite of that, and I would have to stay in the background, because there were technical issues that I was not familiar with at all, and the learning curve had to be very steep. But now I'm able, of course, to switch, as you notice. I'm not using the regular camera switch. And I could also, of course, switch to the background as well. When the audience comes, we will have a camera dedicated to the audience, and from time to time, we will switch to the audience and so on. Yes. So I'm showing off, because over time, and as I've always told students, and I've told educators in general, that, and I'm making a case here for a 3 hours or a 2-hour exam. Here it is, people. These kids, and of course, well, I passed through my session as well, and you. Here it is, you spend 5 years in secondary school, for example. And then the final exam is, let's say, in this case, of course, the CXC exam. And in 2 hours, you have to condense 5 years' work into 2 hours, in a 2-hour paper. And then, if you didn't do well, they tell you that, they make you believe that you didn't go to school, because you would have failed that particular subject. They make you feel so. And if a fella or somebody took 5 subjects and they failed all, according to the 2-hour arrangement, you know, the society makes you believe that somehow you didn't go to school at all. But it is impossible. You know what I say? It is impossible for any human being to go through a process of learning for 5 years and then a 2-hour exam determines whether or not he or she moves to the next stage, or he or she did well in school, because he or she would have either passed or not passed the 2-hour exam. I say there must be an arrangement where that 5 years is recognized on some kind of certificate or something like that. It cannot be. Cannot be. I mean, it's unfair. And then you come out there and you have nothing to do, or should I say the society see you as unworthy of getting a simple job simply because you didn't pass any one of those subjects that you spent 5 years. 5 years learning and 2 hours. Because I'm saying this because I remember before I asked Joshua to make his departing statement, I remember, and I could remember the books that we had to do, because, you know, in literature, what happens is that they change the books from time to time. So I had to learn Thomas Hardy, Far From the Madding Crowd, I think, and I think the book that is usually called that book by anyhow, Pippa the Convict, yes. Pippa the Convict. And I knew these books inside out. So when we go to the exam now, because the way I didn't do any past papers, and because the way how the exam was structured, you have 4 questions, but two from either side you have to do. I did all 4 in one session. And by the time I got it wrong, having read, of course, what I was required to do, time was up. Not to say I didn't know. I knew the whole thing. I could do all the questions. But I am making the point that there are rules in order to pass an exam as well. So those of you who are about to or will be doing exams, be careful about avoiding to read the instructions given. So I've always tell students that before they go to the exam room, read the instructions, because it is not a straightforward thing. You may be bright as a bulb, like I was in that subject, and I failed it because I simply did not read the instructions. That was important, of course, to share with you, because it is about learn, and you need to get the little technique in order to pass the exam. Most persons who get 1s and 2s, or get the school of choice, as the case may be, or pass the exam, is largely because they would have familiarized themselves with past papers and so on. I didn't do that, and if I had done that, maybe it would have been a different story in terms of the exam results. But that being as it may, it doesn't mean to say that you would stay there and believe that you are an outcast, or that you are no good, or that because you fail, something is wrong. No, you try again. Try again, and you will succeed at last. Joshua, any parting words you want to share with the population, with the viewership, with the audience?
One more thing I have to say.
All right.
Well, it's like a comment.
Okay.
Comment that really catches my eye. Fire bad, water good. Says, ask him if there are bullies at his school.
Oh, all right, good. So I have to ask you if there are bullies at your school? Is that what you get from that statement?
Well, yes.
Yes, bullies. There are bullies.
Well, it don't really have bullies. Nobody personally does bully me. I find this big joke and...
Okay, all right. So there are no bullies far as you are concerned, and you have not been attacked by anyone in your new school.
The standard 5, some people say that the standard 5 was the bullies.
All right.
And they left.
Okay, so the standard 5 gone, so that the bullies have left the school, so they have gone on to bully elsewhere. All right. Anything else?
That answers your question.
That's what?
That answers your question.
Oh, that answers the question. All right, okay. Well, thank you very much, son. When you can make your departure, let me get on, of course, to the substantive issues that are supposed to be dealt with tonight. I have, as I said, I want to look at the whole question of Penelope Beckles and that of Imbert or Imbert, and of course the way that they seem to be in a state of illusion or delusion, as the case may be, trying to get the information on what would I say here? Yes, FOR for tonight. TONIGHT TONIGHT. Yeah, for tonight. Let me get that on the system so you get an appreciation as to what she said and what he said to some extent, because he did in fact make a statement in Diego Martin indicating that stick break in PNM people is, and that the party, the leadership, did not listen to the people, and then you had a situation where Penny said in no uncertain terms she's sorry, and I thought that was significant. I'm going to play the half-picked duck sorries or contriteness that she had before, to make you see that even this sorry is really and truly must be taken with not a pinch but a truckload of salt, because they are not sorry one bit. Right? They are. Do you think they're sorry about that they are out of office in spite of the fact that they deserve to be out of office? But they don't want to be out of office at all because they believe that somehow Trinidad and Tobago is bequeathed to them, and we are saying no. That cannot be. This is Trinidad and Tobago. All of us belong here, and all of Trinidad and Tobago belong to all of us. All right, I've just turned on the phone, so those of you who would like to call now, you can do so. But in the meantime, let me get to Penny, and you will see where she has said she is sorry.
Can I make my departure?
Yeah, you can make
some of the mistakes that we have made. And they don't like me to say it, but I will say it. As Mr. Imbert said, we made mistakes.
Good.
And to the people, because a lot of you in Diego Martin West did not come out and vote for Hans. Some of you didn't come out and vote for Com. Some of you didn't come out and vote for Simon. And we want to say to those of you who stayed home, we want to say to those of you who are not happy with the People's National Movement performance over the last couple years, to those of you who felt disconnected, and those of you who felt that we were not listening, I'm here tonight to say to you, we are sorry. I'm here tonight to say to you, we are sorry. We are sorry.
I know that you want to hear that again, so and see it again. So let's do it again for those who just tuned in, and to, of course, absorb this thing, because it is pathetic.
Recognize some of the mistakes that we have made. And they don't like me to say it, but I will say it. As Mr. Imbert said, we made mistakes. And to the people, because a lot of you in Diego Martin West did not come out and vote for Hans. Some of you didn't come out and vote for Com. Some of you didn't come out and vote for Simon. And we want to say to those of you who stayed home, we want to say to those of you who are not happy with the People's National Movement performance over the last couple years, to those of you who felt disconnected, and those of you who felt that we were not listening, I'm here tonight to say to you, we are sorry. I'm here tonight to say to you, we are sorry. We are sorry.
But listen to this. How could she be sorry when she would have said this, endorsing Imsbert as a minister in her government? I mean, it is impossible for...
But just following very quickly on what minister to be, because I mean, when we win again, I don't know, Call might change his mind. But I know that he coming back to serve in my cabinet.
Wait. Let's hear that again.
But I know that he coming back to serve in my cabinet. But I know that he coming back to serve in my cabinet. But just following very quickly on what minister to be, because I mean, when we win again, I don't know, Call might change his mind. Call might change his mind. Win again, I don't know, Call might change his mind. Win again, I don't know, Call might change his mind. But I know that he coming back to serve in my cabinet.
People has Penny gone mad? How those kinds of statements in Trinidad and Tobago today, and having regard to the fact that they were jettisoned unceremoniously, embarrassingly, on the 28th of April, how you could come and make a statement like that so early in the new administration and in your own tenure as opposition leader? You don't even know if you will have a party at the end of the first term of the present administration under Kamala Prasad Bisesa, the Prime Minister, the UNC, and of course the coalition of interests. You don't even know if you have a party. I wonder if it was pure platitude, more ingratiation, because clearly Imbert has proven to be a burden, not just to the PNM, and I mean, I feel I have the right as a citizen to make a comment on that in that regard, and having regard to the fact that I have been part and parcel of that team that has been exposing the PNM and the things that they know, the PNM leadership know, admitting. But when they were in government, they weren't admitting the things that we were saying that they were doing. You understand what's happening there? So therefore, I have the right, and I arrogate unto myself the authority. You know what I say? I say I arrogate unto myself the authority to say that Penny has gone off her rockers and that she has literally shot herself in both feet by making that statement. So we know. So therefore, and contributing to the ultimate damnation of the PNM. Yes, the ultimate damnation of the PNM. Having regard to that kind of illusionary madwoman syndrome statement, square peg and round hole, that she has made and have been making. Because she said before that, in another, of course, occasion, on another occasion, that they made mistakes, and people don't like she to say that. And she went in Tobago when, of course, Sanfa Kojo, she walked out of the meeting when she said that people are hurting. And of course, there could be no better hurt put on anybody else than getting none of the Tobago seats. None of the Tobago seats they got. The PNM I'm talking about. So, it's important, of course, for those of you who may not be familiar, who did not pay attention to now pay attention. Let's hear what she has to say again, with respect, of course, to the endorsing of Amesbury as a minister in her illusionary, enigmatic, wishful thinking cabinet that has no future.
But just following very quickly on what minister to be, because I mean, when we win again, I don't know, Call might change his mind. But I know that he coming back to serve in my cabinet.
Yeah! Yes, people. And in the same meeting, she made this, or she gave this revelation.
Recognize some of the mistakes that we have made. And they don't like me to say it, but I will say it. As Mr. Imbert said, we made mistakes. And to the people, because a lot of you in Dago Martin West did not come out and vote for Hans. Some of you didn't come out and vote for Calm. Some of you didn't come out and vote for Simon. And we want to say to those of you who stayed home, we want to say to those of you who are not happy with the People's National Movement performance over the last couple years, to those of you who felt disconnected, and those of you who felt that we were not listening, I'm here tonight to say to you, we are sorry. I'm here tonight to say to you, we are sorry. We are sorry.
I mean, it is mind-boggling as it is what I consider to be the acceptance of the level of shenanigans at the level of mendaciousness, suffering clearly from mythomania, spontaneous lying. Mythomania, spontaneous lying. It's clear because that does not equate with the reality of the PNM. It does not equate with the reality of what the people of Trinidad and Tobago experience over the 9-point-something years before the 28th of April, when they lost the election spectacularly. And the UNC Coalition of Interest won that election handsomely. How those words could resonate with anyone? But I suppose, as I would have said regularly during the last, the 9-point-something years of the PNM's reign under Rowley, and later, very short, of course, Stuart Young, who the gods wish to destroy, they first send them mad. Well, they have gone mad. We have a caller. Let's go to the line. Oh boy, caller, call back. I'll ask the caller to call back. Call back, caller. What I didn't do was engage the system phone line. So let me see if I get it here, because I'm trying to test. As I said, we have a different tower that we are using. So call back. Yeah, let me see if not, I'll have to go straight. All right, I'll have to go straight. All right. Sorry about that, Mr. Faizabad, but it appears that the system on the screen is not working, as I hope to. But go ahead. Good night, my friend. Good night. Yeah, Murphy's law. When something has to go wrong, it will at the worst possible time. I thought I had fixed that, but clearly it's not. So after the program, I will do that. Go ahead. But they're hearing you loud and clear. You just have to go through the speaker instead of the system. But go ahead.
And then it's them who dismantle the dog catching unit in the corporation, right? It's them, they pay them because they say cruelty to dumb animal. And the next thing I want to tell that woman behind him, you know how is that, right? Because India went and moved all his cent over the treasury and he leave a penny, right?
Yeah.
But just imagine, yesterday they had an important bill, more important than the procurement legislation, right? Penny disappear, Camille disappear, India disappear. I see them.
Wow.
So I wonder that.
Yeah, and I think they abstained.
Yeah. So that video you played, I only hope the citizen who she talking to, because first they begin.
Yeah.
Penny Gaspidoli say the fighting and the beating is the PNM mother,
Yeah.
the PNM sister, and the PNM grandmother. Children who in the school doing that, and all they neglect them. Penny, the school that they have for the chair, tell now Gaspidoli $7 billion 4 months ago. Why she didn't buy you chairs and put in? Where the money gone? That is all the policy and neglected people. It's clear. And then just imagine all your family benefiting from excusal and you see them coming out. Just imagine Foster Cummins, wife and daughter, there's nothing wrong with that, but the people in the constituency who put it there, all the same ministry and agency, all the see break down the people's house in the constituency, and all they never look at them. But all they get to realize that all of that hoodwink them, CPET work, come for CPET work. Why it is penny? All they did give the CPET, the URP workers, minimum wage. Why don't they give them that? Them is vulnerable. But you're paying $5 billion in a merchant bank. Get a contract, sum of $5 billion. Penny, the whole 13 seat all they get. One in San Fernando, a question to answer with the EBC and the special voting. Because people reject what they right or wrong.
I hear you.
Imagine the Western Peninsula, the poor people between there, all the world taking away their farmland. Just the other day, and to build basketball court, all they say, all they had nothing for the people, nothing. All they tell them, wait till 2028, Maduro give all the gas, and all they give away the rights and the patrimony. So the money when come to the people, it will go away. And when the Mark boss here now, Mark boss did boss the mark, is the UNC that all they benefited and the supporters suffer. Uncle Lennox,
hey.
have a pleasant evening.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
And my cost just now.
Do my favor now, just as you hang up, call back and let me see if I got the phone regularized. I'll appreciate that. I'm hoping that somebody isn't calling at the same time. So just do me that favor, please. Let me just test the system. I think whilst you were talking, making your contribution, I was trying to make some adjustments, some tweaking. I hope that that will do the trick, so to speak. So if you can call back now. Remember, it's only WhatsApp. Let's see. So he's calling back now. He's calling back. No, that didn't do the trick. Maybe I'll have to reboot probably. All right. Thanks very much. Thanks very much, Mr. Faizabad, for responding. But it appears that I have not solved the problems. But thanks anyway. All right? Thanks. Yeah.
Okay, later. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So we'll have to use the handset and use the extra mic to get your contributions to the wider national community. Let me say, just in case I didn't, special good night to all and sundry, East, West, North, South, Central, or Friends of Tobago, and wherever you are streaming on the World Wide Web. A pleasant good day to you. Yes, indeed, of course, it is the Corridor Transformation, of course, the Saturday edition. Your host, Lennox Smith, and earlier, Joshua Smith. Yes, and of course, very, very interesting development. Of course, tonight's theme is, of course, learn all. And I played for you, of course, that iconic tune by Gypsy, A Little Black Boy, and I was targeting really along the East-West corridor, where, of course, most of the African community would have, of course, settled. Let's go to the line. Yes, let's go to the line. Pleasant good night. Welcome. Yes, welcome. You better make your contribution, because I may be getting some difficulty with my hearing of it, but everybody else will be hearing. So the mic is closer to your voice and mine. Yeah, go ahead.
So you're not hearing me?
Yeah, go ahead. They will be hearing you. Go ahead, make your contribution.
You hearing me clearly? You hearing me clearly?
If I had to bring the phone closer to my ears, but in doing so, I may lose juice. I may lose the phone. The phone may die on me because it wasn't charging before, so it is now charging. So go ahead and make your contribution. If you're asking me a question, I may not be able to answer because I ain't hearing it. But if you can make a general contribution, I'll appreciate that. So I don't have to put myself in that position. Go ahead.
I sent something to you Thursday night. I don't know if you received it.
All right.
I sent something to you Thursday night. I'll be short because if this is the problem, I wouldn't make much contribution. I sent something to you Thursday night. Did you receive it?
All right.
Hello? I said I posted something to you. Did you receive it?
It's very strange when you can't hear what the caller is saying.
All right, okay. I'll cancel.
All right, okay then. All right. So probably it was a statement that required maybe a response from me, but I cannot hear him as clearly as I would like. And if I move the phone from where it is closer to my ears, I think I would lose the power, because my assistant just said that the phone was not charging in preparation for tonight's program. I had so many other issues to deal with. But let's not waste time with that. We have a program, and we are here until 9:30, so let's make use of it. But listen to what Imwood had to say that might have triggered, of course, what I consider it could only be ingratiation, because I don't think that Penny is serious, and the fact that she would have said it, and one would have thought that she would be talking things that are serious for both the party that she heads and the country, shows that she is either not ready or that she is engaged, of course, in what I consider to be, and I'm being generous here, showmanship. I think it is more shenanigans than anything else. But let's hear Imswood.
That is one of the problems that we faced in the last election, just like this. Kamala Harris came in almost at the last minute. She couldn't break away from Joe Biden. Joe Biden was already very unpopular. They asked her, what would you do differently to what Joe Biden did? And she foolishly said, I can't think of anything. Well, she leaves, okay? And we know what happened after that. And we have parallels like that in the PNM. And the parallel I am drawing is the absence of democratic decision making. the absence of this democratic decision making. You see, if you properly analyze why we lost that election, we made stupid mistakes in 1995, in 2010, and in 2025. Stupid mistakes. We did not connect with the people and make decisions based on consensus coming from our base and from the general population. That's our weakness as a party. That is our weakness. We don't listen. Stick break in our ears. I ain't ashamed to say that.
No, that was the man. When Vanilla Toppin made the very scathing and comprehensive presentation and remarks of the character that was leading that party at that time, who became the leader. I talk about Rowley. And she talked about his past and the rape scenario. He, Imsworth, was the man. Instead of staying and facing and rebutting, I suppose probably was part of a strategy and walk out of the parliament. It left me over the 9 years to be making those same statements outside of the parliament, outside of the protection of the parliament. Not being a parliamentarian. And Rowley did nothing about it. Instead, he trained his political verbal venom on Vanilla Toppin. I want to say that she is a heroine. We were forewarned. It was a harbinger. It was a precursor to what was to come. And they ended up winning the election, questionable or questionably as it was. But the fact is, they got 23 seats and therefore won the elections. Questionable, but you can't prove it. And the apparatus of state, including the judiciary, was prepared to go with that, because remember, in the election petitions that ensued, the election petitions that ensued consequential of the 2015 general elections, the court concluded that the EBC had no authority to extend the time from 6 o'clock to 7 o'clock to conclude the elections. Remember that? And they said, why is that was an infringement? Why is that was wrong? Why is that was illegal? The outcome of the elections, they sustained, it remained. And one would have thought, and if that could have gone to the Privy Council, yes, I want you to know that election petitions cannot go to the Privy Council, our highest court, or apex court. But had that gone there, you see, because we would not have known, and they will not have told us what was the true benefit of the intervention of the political leader and therefore opposition at the time. I talk about Rowley, when he communicated with the chairman of the EBC at the time and caused the extension. And I had cause, of course, to argue, because my party, Love, also contested the 2 Laverty seats in that elections. And I had to ask the question, if the court said that EBC was wrong, 1, 2, if it is that there were other players, independent candidates, as well as parties like mine, small parties nonetheless, $5,000 per candidate. So that's $10,000 I had to find and put out for my two candidates. And let's assume because of their apparatus and their size, the UNC knew of the extension. The PNM obviously would have known of the extension because they were the ones that influenced the chairman of the party. Then I felt that because of the absolute and total disadvantage that my party would have obviously endured, because an election is about leveling the playing field, is about everybody should know what the agency that is responsible for conducting these elections, the EBC, is either doing, about to do, so that the election could be concluded as free and fair and free from fear. Yeah. And therefore, I felt that there should have been a special situation for the independent parties, for the independent candidates, and the small parties who were not part of that, who were not aware, who was none the wiser, and therefore they should get back their monies. When I put it to the, eventually when I put it to the EBC, they sent back and of course send a section of the regulation that says only that a person contesting at that level must pay 5, and it has nothing to say about give back any money. Totally ignoring the fact that the special circumstance when the court would have said that the EBC was wrong and that we the independent and the small parties were not aware. The big parties maybe. And the fact that elections are supposed to be conducted free and fair, and that everybody should know everything where the elections agency, or should I say the EBC, making decisions, critical as that was, extending the time. You see, because I argued that persons who would have voted for me or for our party did not get a chance to vote because they thought that the elections day period would have ended on what? At 6 o'clock, 6 p.m. on that day, 6 to 6. 6 in the morning to 6 in the evening. And they said simply that they referred to the regulation that talk about how you must and how much money you must spend on a candidate to contest the election, and that's it. I'm still concerned. But you understand my argument. And if you were in the position, I'm sure that, and you had the opportunity, you would have at least tested it. So we know. So that here it is, it was double jeopardy and double what I consider to be suspicion on the part of the small parties and that of the independents against the EBC. I say all that to say that here it is, when they got into office now, under such circumstance, they began to be as brutal, they began to be as obnoxious, they began to be misogynic, they began to be brutal and rambunctious. They began to insult the people. They began to say, do as I say, but don't do as I do. They infiltrated independent institutions. And don't tell me I don't know what I'm talking about before I start to unveil what transpired, of course, in the Police Service Commission. What transpired in the sitting president's tenure. Tell me that. What they did to Petrotrin. What they did to the DPP. Embroiling the DPP in the, of course, Vincent Nelson matter. Don't tell me I don't know. It will be disingenuous, and I'm being kind to you. Stopping short of saying it will be dishonest if you're playing you don't know. Quite apart from the fact that they said that they will not interfere with subsidy and they will never introduce property tax. I want to tell you today that if by any stretch of a very elastic imagination, let me repeat, if by any stretch of a very elastic imagination generating the emaciation or the thinness, tapering out into nothing, are trying to be as descriptive as possible and as graphic as possible as to the impossibility of the PNM winning the last election that was conducted on the 28th of April. That is why I'm using those kinds of terminology, time of descriptive phrases and words. It's important that we understand what they told us, that if they had gotten back in, they would have introduced property tax, a tax that they described in 2015 as barbaric, as ugly, as a lie. I don't get me vexed before I play that one too. But Imbert and Rowley was there on the stage at Hyatt. And I showed you then during the campaign, and I will show you again if you get me vexed. When it came to property tax, and the journalist asked for an explanation, Imbert was saying that it's not in the manifesto. You know what I say Imbert was saying it's not in the manifesto. And it came to a verbal, and to some extent, who more authoritative than who? Because both of them were on the stage. The question was posed. Imbert decided, of course, that since he will be, I assume, the finance minister or the deputy political leader, as the case may be, and the second most senior person, of course, either with or after Rowley, as the case may be. But the fact of the matter is that Imbert said that it's not in the manifesto. And then Rowley said, let me answer this one, pushing him aside, in other words. And then he went on to say and give the assurance that there are people who were saying that the PNM will bring that property tax. He said two significant things. One, that it is a dastard, malicious, and unadulterated lie that the PNM will even consider that tax. And two, the second thing he said about it is that that matter was dealt with by the outgoing, as we would have learned now from history, the outgoing government, Kamala Persad-Bissessar, and the UNC, or the partnership then, in 2015 during the campaign. He said that they dealt with it. And what was that? The same Larry Hawaii, who is now the governor of the central bank, he was the Minister of Finance then under that administration. And he said that in the ensuing budget, giving some indication as to what the budget will look like, he said in no uncertain terms that the government, once they got back into office, that is to say the UNC in 2015 I'm talking about, during the campaign, will be looking at the reverting to land and building taxes. Land and building taxes, distinct and separate from property tax. And I want to tell you, Isbert is so deceptive that at one point in time, having concluded the obvious that they have reneged on that and they no longer see the property tax as something that will hinder their prospects to get into office. He then even went and say that property tax and land and building taxes is one and the same, because he used the term, we have always had taxes, and land and building taxes is the same as that of property tax. Of course, we know that that was a blatant deception. That was a blatant lie. But that is the nature of the beast. And that is the level of hoodwinking, innuendos and deception that have characterized. Yeah, Penny was saying it, but she's saying it to look for political points. She should and shall not have any, because she was part of that. Cannot distance yourself. She is making it look as though you could take out the heart. You could take out a person's heart and they could still survive, they could still live. Because you separate one, the heart may be defective, so you take it out. And even if it wasn't defective, but you take it out from the body, she is saying that the body could still survive. And the heart somehow would make it independently. Hogwash, asinine, dunderheaded, stone-headed, reckless and brutal, and we must respond appropriately. So, I'm saying all of that to say that today we would have been reeling from property tax, having regard to the antecedent surrounding that particular measure, that particular issue, during the election campaign of 2015 in particular. And then you have, of course, the other reversal of Rowley himself. Has the audacity, the temerity, the gall, the effrontery, and the boldfacedness, and of course, with a straight face, aplomb, telling us that we voted for that. Yes, apart from Innsbruck telling us that property tax and land and building taxes is one and the same, Rowley came up and said that we voted for that. Now that they got into office, are talking about subsequent to getting into office, and of course during the 2020 campaign, they suddenly bring that back up because they tell themselves they are going to win, and they have, of course, a mechanism to steal the elections. Because remember, he said because the environment was one where COVID was the dominant factor, and therefore they used COVID to prevent what? Independent observers from coming into the country. Don't forget. You cannot afford to forget, lest you are doomed to repeat the obvious that we were subjected to. Happy riddance, and let them go their way. They have had enough. Deception of the people. So in that meeting of 2015, we only made it clear that property tax was dealt with by Hawaii saying that they will revert to land and building taxes. Land and building taxes. And I want you to note, because the Kamala Prasad Bisasa then is the same Kamala Prasad today. Just that she's wiser and nobody could play the fool with her. I'll come into that in a while. But I want you to note that when they said that land and building taxes will be reverted in the run up to the, of course, the 2015 general elections, they outline how it will be extrapolated or implemented. All right, we have to go to the phone. I'll have to work with the constraint that I have now. We have no choice. Let me just make sure here. Pastor, good night. Welcome. Make your statement. I'm not hearing you, so I can't answer anything, but make your statement. Go ahead.
Pleasant good night to you, Lennox Smith.
Yes.
Everybody I need live. You hear me loud and clear?
Huh? You see, you asked him a question. I said, make a statement and done with that, so we could get on smoothly, because I'm not hearing.
Right. So check this out. So yesterday I had a passenger in my car, and they was talking about the situation there with US and Guyana. And then there's no the PNM supporters and them. One of the women jump up and borrow. This Kamala will cause Venezuela want to attack me now. I said, why? I saw the smaller horses. I said, let me carry them back down memory lane. I said, some months ago, when the Venezuelan authorities say the whole some people on our period, I think was 4 was Colombian and 1 is Chile. You understand? And I think one of the minister of security or wherever make a bold statement and say that he will go to the ends of the world, meaning that he will come to Trinidad and apprehend the other people that are involved. And Kamala had to go and tell them, they can't come here just so much. Say any illegal boat enter our waters, she is shocking the Coast Guard to take action against them. I saw the people in that. I said, so how come I look at Tudor and say it's Kamala and say it's Venezuela about to the first blood? So in the beginning, they wanted to come here and want to do what I Kamala to tell them, no, they can't come here just so. So when Stuart make his statement on board that he could fight for me and you, he wasn't fighting for me and you, he was fighting for himself and his stepdaughter. Kamala fighting for the people in Trinidad because she learned Venezuela what time it is, and you hear any statement that they're making now, some letter they're playing, and they're saying what they claim Trinidad. These people matter come and claim the excess Venezuelan in Trinidad here, because half of them and 3/4 of them right now in sleeping cells from Europe. It's about time Kamala started putting things in place and started sending out some of these people who don't have the documents. Because we are one Trinidad can't be that foolish to have everybody coming in a country like this without paperwork. Last year, you feel well not any kind of paperwork, this people will allow me in your country. You have to have your paperwork. So why is it only Trinidad people can just come and go as they want? What shall you see here? I want to send a message to the Attorney General. John Dean, I know he's a man, he's seasoned in the politics. I want him to move with ease. I want to see blood and segregations and shackles on this Ukrainian body. And all one of them have to be not putting a jail here in Trinidad. I think that jail is in Cuba or I think Montana. Don't be over there for our prison. We need to put this Ukrainian across there and let them know what time it is. So when we don't really pay them, we should be using our phrase as once upon a time.
All right, I'm sorry I can't respond. All right, I will get it when I review the tonight's program. But As I said, I'm at a disadvantage here. But I want to revert to the point where when the UNC made the announcement via the current governor of the central bank, Larry Hawaii, about the reinstatement of the land and building taxes, they said something significant. And that again sets the UNC apart from the PNM. Because here it is, they said they're going to start collection from businesses first, commercial collection first. And the last thing they would have collected from was residential. Very significant. Because when not only did they deceive the people, are talking about the PNM, in saying that they will not consider property tax, but in the rollout of it, they started with the people who are least likely, are talking about people who are wage earners. Not that you have a business and you could pass on the whatever additional cost to the consumer. No. It's domestic. People with single salaries. One source. And that is on top of the intention and the fact that they had even a tax dealing with Korea. You see something in Trinidad that costing a pound and a crown, but you could get it much less if you import it by way of Korea. They tax that too, the Korea. And then, as if that was enough, they started to talk about electricity and water rate and targeting the domestic consumers as if there is no nexus between that arbitrary and onerous and wicked and diabolical and vindictive conduct in government, abusing the office and abusing the people, the ordinary people, and pauperizing them more by those taxes that they propose to implement, having regard to the fact that they would have exhausted the financial or the fiscal good position that they would have found themselves in 2015, left by Kamala Persad-Bissessar and the partnership then. It's not waste time. And I'm talking here about, of course, the over 12 billion in reserves. Today, it's about 4 billion people. They lick up with that 8 billion in 9-point-something years. And they have the audacity today to talk about not where the money coming from. They should be talking about where it gone, what they did with it, and then telling us to implement property tax, a promise that was made by both mass parties, PNM and UNC. UNC constant as the Northern Star. Constant as the Northern Star. And immutable as a cent. Can't change. Whereas they feel they could fool and hoodwink people and get into government and stay hoodwinking people to stay in government. Well, the population has become wiser and absolutely adept to the evil that is the PNM. So when Penny talks in recent times about bringing back Imsbert, it must have sent shivers down the spine of every single Trinbagonian who loves Trinidad and Tobago, because they know the man couldn't account for $3 billion and then engage, of course, with high-handed conduct to manipulate the courts and to go to the Privy Council with our money in order, of course, to give the impression that somehow he could have accounted for it. Well, I want to say kudos to the Auditor General who stood her ground. Magnificent. And that is what you need with these cowards. Fellas who, and women who just showboating. That's all. Pretended that what they are not. And could only talk efficaciousness and proficiency. But in fact, they are total and absolute indolence. Indolence. And absolute nincompoops. Nincompoops. So we must see them for who they are. See them for who they are. So they have attacked the poor, and they have no regards, had no regards for the fact that the money is coming from single source, single income people, and protecting at the same time the what? Those who have the flexibility by passing on whatever increase. I'm talking about the 1% and the business, the middle and the middle income businesses. That's what they have done to us. While they have exhausted over 8 billion of the 12 billion that they met there, and still have the, and with some degree of political, what I consider to be ghost-like gusto. You know what I say? I say ghost-like gusto because it's ghost. You can't feel that, you can't see it. It is amorphous. Yes, ghost-like gusto. Beating up the chest and winding up and getting on as if, well, look, they're saying something. Well, empty vessels make plenty noise. Empty vessels make plenty noise, and these fellas and women are empty vessels making plenty noise. And the population is extremely discerning. And with programs like these, you don't want anything better but to, of course, face the reality by virtue of the utterances and the proof associated with these utterances as we have seen tonight. Do not be fooled by Penny and she hogwash, superficial and superfluous, as was the case with Imsbert. Let's hear Penny again as she endorses Imsbert. Endorses Imsbert as a potential cabinet and one assume finance minister. Even Stuart Young got rid of him. And he was vexed in the statement that he would have made, saying that stick breaking people's ears and that they didn't listen and that PNM was undemocratic. He was part of the pillar of the fortress of anti-democratic behavior inside of the PNM, because he had a situation, as we saw, where he was moved to the Ministry of what? Of Public Utilities, yes. And he refurbished our office because he didn't like it. And we would have had stories about that when he was in Manning's cabinet as well. He's so full of himself. He's so arrogant. He's so contemptuous of the people that he commandeered a whole elevator in the Ministry of Works for himself. All of that is part and parcel of it. And don't get me vexed before a play where he said that he acknowledged that he was an arrogant son of a gun. And he wouldn't do it again. That was before he came back into office with Rowley. Before. So these people have no character of substance. And there is a distinction, people, between character and personality. You see, character refers to your sense of what is right and what is wrong. Character. Personality is how people think about you, what you project out there. If you are a supervisor and your personality is one where you are a stickler for procedure but you're hoggish and you're dogmatic and you're insultive. That is not good personality traits, because you can make people do things by being pleasant as well. They choose to be because of their arrogant, contemptuous nature, stereotypical of the psychological character of persons who are pure and unadulterated narcissistic, self-serving. But let's hear Penny as she tried to tell her population, convince her population that somehow Ibsbird is some kind of minister of substance or to be considered. Yes, indeed.
But just following very quickly on what minister to be, because I mean, when we win again, I don't know, Carl might change his mind. But I know that he coming back to serve in my cabinet.
Joke. Big joke. Yeah! Let's hear it again. Big joke.
I know that he coming back to serve in my cabinet.
Big joke.
But I know that he coming back to serve in my cabinet.
Let's imagine that. If what she talking about, to come in her cabinet, but that cabinet break before, mash up before it even was constructed. Because it's 5 years you have to wait. One, and but in that 5 years, I expect that the PNM will be relegated to the dustbin of political history. But let's hear what Ibsbird had to say in terms of his own contribution to the arrogance and contempt for the people of the PNM. Listen to what he said. Suddenly he has some kind of self-righteous indignation.
That is one of the problems that we faced in the last election, just like this. Kamala Harris came in almost at the last minute. She couldn't break away from Joe Biden. Joe Biden was already very unpopular.
What is he saying? He's really saying, making the comparison between Kamala Harris and, of course, Joe Biden, and she couldn't break away from Joe Biden. In other words, what he is saying is that Stuart Young couldn't break away from Rowley because he had too much influential impact. Rowley had too much influential impact on Stuart Young. And so that was a lethal combination that contributed to the demise of the PNM and I would dare say, continues so to be. Listen to this.
They asked her, what would you do differently to what Joe Biden did? And she foolishly said, I can't think of anything. Well, she lose, okay? And we know what happened after that.
So he threw that statement for Stuart Young because Stuart Young threw him inside the Ministry of Public Utilities. He ain't like that. So it's obvious that the infighting in the PNM continues. By that statement alone, you'll understand that they have imploded and exploded after the 28th of April.
And we have parallels like that in the PNM. And the parallel I am drawing is the absence of democratic decision making. The absence of this democratic decision making. You see, if you properly analyze why we lost that election, we made stupid mistakes in 1995, in 2010, and in 2025. Stupid mistakes. We did not connect with the people and make decisions based on consensus coming from our base and from the general population. That's our weakness. As a party, that is our weakness. We don't listen. Stick break in our ears. I ain't ashamed to say that.
But he was part and parcel of all of that. He should be ashamed to even contemplate far less. People, of course, oh boy, the time is 9:48. Sorry about that. With the lack of telephone, imagine that we're going on. But let me just say, of course, take the apology from Penny, where she said, of course, sorry. Let me make sure, right? She said sorry. And then we'll make our departure.
Recognize some of the mistakes that we have made. And they don't like me to say it, but I will say it. As Mr. Imbert said, we made mistakes. And to the people, because a lot of you in Dago Martin West did not.
Yes, indeed. Go ahead, Penny. Say the rest.
Not come out and vote for Hans. Some of you didn't come out and vote for Kong. Some of you didn't come out and vote for Simon. And we want to say to those of you who stayed home, we want.
Yeah, you want what? We want to say.
To say to those of you who are not happy with the People's National Movement performance over the last couple years. To those of you who felt disconnected, and those of you who felt that we were not listening, I'm here tonight to say to you, we are sorry. I'm here tonight to say to you, we are sorry. We are sorry.
People, of course, yes, with that hilarious statement, with that hilarious end, let's end tonight's program. Of course, we'll try to see if we can get the phone line going. I know that a lot of people would have wanted to make their contributions tonight, but I'm sure you have gotten a lot of food for thought as well, some of which we are now beginning to understand the true bestial nature, politically bestial nature of the PNM. And that talk about sorry is merely part of their modus operandi to get back into your good graces, and when you would have been lured into that deception, they then of course turn on you and they started to of course pressurize you to the point where, as we have seen, you are more pauperized and they enrich themselves and enrich of course their 1%. We have had enough of that. That cannot be sustainable. It is not durable. And therefore, we must reject that at every opportunity. And tonight is just one of many. Have a wonderful rest of the night. God bless. And see you tomorrow night. Yes, Sunday. As we continue, of course, with these and other. I have a lot of work to do, you know. I still have about 2 o'clock. I have to get back up to prepare some documents for Monday. We have to get going. And as I've often said, when the going gets tough, the tough gets going. Yeah, we ain't get anything from the government as yet, but of course there are things in place. There are those who are casting their own impressions and their views on the subject, whether or not that is justice or injustice, as the case may be. I have my own views, but I would not share it with you. What I prefer to do, of course, is to have a little patience and things in the fullness of time. Because you see, I've always said that no matter what you do, ability is ability. So it doesn't matter if you rush up front or if people got opportunities up front. At the end of the day, the stone that the builder rejects will eventually become the cornerstone. I ain't giving no more parables. But ability is ability. What we know for sure, the common thread is that the UNC must remain and the coalition remain in office in perpetuity. In other words, the PNM must never again see government in this country. Have a wonderful rest of the night. God bless. See you tomorrow. And of course, same time, 8 o'clock, and we'll see if we could correct, of course, some of the glitches that we have had tonight. I think we will be best served by going back to, of course, where we started, learn, and of course, let Gypsy tell the little black boys here in East Port of Spain, Laventil, Beetham, etc., what you should do by the words of this song.
A black boy was he. The boy went to school and he come out unseen. Never learned how to read, he never learned about math. Never learned how to write, he never studied about that. All he studied was his speakers, his sneakers and clothes. He learned how to dress and he learned how to pose. He can't get no work, he can't get no job.
Yes, indeed.
He decided to steal and he decided to rob. But little black boy couldn't last long at all. The police put a bullet through the